Hi guys, so starting April 1st, you should be beginning week 3, which is the orange colored cover paper. And so I'm just gonna go through day at a time. I'm gonna do it all in this one video, so if you need to pause it and stop right there and then wait till the next day before you progress throughout this video. But this is all going to be the entire week for this video right here. The expectation is that by the end of this week, you can even go into spring break too if you need to, but all 3 packets need to be completed in their entirety. Talking to first grade today, we came to the decision that the entire packet needs to be completed by the week of April 14th. So that gives you some time before you go and get your second packet. So for week 3, day 1, you're supposed to read Field Trip Funds, which is located in your My Shared Reading packet, which looks like this. And you're going to read pages 10 and 11. And I just wanted to point out to you, your child may not know what funds means. And so funds are money. So money for a field trip or field trip money. So what you're going to do for today's story is you're going to circle the words with the double O sound, as in food, or the words that say ooh in them. And I'm going to give you a clue. You're going to locate it in the first sentence up there at the top, which says, Mr. Soto's class was planning a trip to the zoo. Hopefully you can find that word. You're also going to underline the word that means part of, but not all. And so I'm going to give you another clue. You're going to find it. Some kids wanted to have a book sale at school. So you're going to look for the word that means part of, but not all. And then you also need to put a star next to a key detail. Remember, our main topic are funds for the field trip or field trip funds. So you're going to look for a key detail or an important part that kind of references that to our main idea. So once you're done with that, you're completed with the reading section for today. Then your writing prompt, it says, tell about a time that you went on a field trip. And I know all of our first graders were able to go on the field trip for the most part to the Discovery Science Cube. And if they want to write about that, they can. If there was another field trip that they attended when they were in kindergarten, they're more than welcome to talk about that too. Just any field trip. And if they've never been on a field trip, then they can go ahead and make it up as far as what they would have done, because we're talking about what we did in the past. So what your student is going to work on today is a circle map. The circle map looks like this. Our main idea is a field trip, so that always goes in the middle section of our circle map. Break your circle map into 4 sections, straight line down and then across. And then you're going to go ahead and sequence or brainstorm your ideas based off the circle map. We typically put our first activity that we did here, next, then, and finally. Make sure that your student is putting it in that order as they're sequencing it, so when they transfer their ideas to their flow map, it makes much more sense. That's your writing for today. For day 1, don't forget to complete 1 page of your math facts, and that could be any of them. You're also going to complete a Go Math page, page 97 and 98. That's located towards the middle section here, so let me find 97 and 98. Now, I know some of you are new to this YouTube channel or videos that I've been putting out the last couple of weeks, and so I just might reiterate some of the things that my parents already know. Whenever you get to the cover page here at the beginning of a lesson, you're going to notice down towards the bottom where the red apple is at, that's where the directions are the teacher's supposed to read. Since you guys are the teachers this week, that's what you read. George sees 7 blue birds and 8 red birds. So what your student needs to do is they need to go ahead and model that into, I've already colored mine, but your child has blank cubes here. So I modeled 7 of them as being blue, and I wrote that addend or the part is 7, and 8 of them are red. So I colored the rest of them, or 8 of them red, and I wrote the number or addend as 8. And your child needs to add 7 plus 8. They can reference back up here, count the model to write their whole number, their answer. Then the second part, it says, help children work through changing the order of the addends. So 7 was our first addend up here. Now we're just going to change it. So 7 is now the second addend and 8 is the first. They're going to model with their blocks, color them the same way, but now the red's going first. So 8 red and 7 blue. Even though we changed the order of the addends, the whole number or the answer is not going to change. After they've completed this page, then they move on to the next one. Same thing here. If you use the same add-ins, what other fact can you write? So if I have 5 plus 6, I can change it to 6 plus 5. I'm just changing the order of the add-ins, not changing the numbers that are in it. And I'm still going to get the same answer. So they can reference back to this model or picture here to be able to write their answer. And they're going to continue with that throughout the rest of the lesson. So if I have 8 plus 9, I can change that into 9 plus 8. So regardless of if I know this one, I can also help myself solve this one. So changing the orders of the add-ins or the parts is really going to help us when we're doing our math facts, because if I know 1 plus 2, I can know 2 plus 1 and solve it fairly quickly. So that would be your math for today. Then you are also required to do 20 minutes of physical activity. Don't forget, you can take your child outside. They could ride a bike, throw around a football, or they can do indoor activities such as Go Noodle. Don't forget that you can Google those fun activities there. Your children love to do it at school, or you can think of another fun activity. There's lots of PE ideas out there. You can Google them. You can look on Pinterest. There's tons of ideas. And then also as optional work, your child can work on morning work page 127. For my class, we've been working on different pages, and so if you are a parent from a different class at this point, this may not apply to you because our our morning work pages look a little bit different. So if you're in a different class, you might pause this video because this will not apply to you, or you can skip ahead and go to the next day. So for my class, you're going to read the story and then you're going to answer the question, why do you think Jess and Adam read the books? The answer might be just based off of what your child thinks. I think for this one right here, there's several different responses that could be the correct answer, but as long as they're able to explain why they think that, then that's okay. When I was looking ahead too, I noticed that the page number is 144, which is kind of past where we were at. So some of these ideas your child has not been introduced to at school, and so they're going to need a little bit more support with this morning work, and that's okay. So number 2, it says grammar and adjectives. Draw a skinny lion. Your student should read that. Draw a picture of a skinny lion. Number 3, I'm looking for the word enjoy. Number 4, that is a picture of a toy, and your child hasn't been introduced the OY spelling pattern as making the sound oi. So what they're going to do is they're going to say the word toy and then finger stretch it, oi. And they know that the T is already there. They've written that for them, and then they need to finish writing the word, just remembering that OY says oi. This is where they're going to need a little bit more support. Number 5, find the high frequency word that goes in the blank spot. Number 6 says, my sister said the dress was hers. There's 6 mistakes in this sentence. That's quite a bit. Something's wrong with the word sisters. That's not how we spell the word said. If your child can't remember how to spell those high frequency words, you can help them with that. That's not how we spell was. That's not how we spell hers. So make sure that your student is spelling those correctly. Number 7 is really scary to me because I have not taught fractions. In fact, I never teach fractions, so I was kind of surprised to even see it on here. But it says, write the fraction for the shaded part. So this is where your child is definitely going to need a lot more support. So there's 3 different rectangles here, and I see 2 of them are shaded. So if I were to write this as a fraction, let me find my pen here, your child would write, let me find a good colored one. There's 2 fractions that are shaded out of 3. So we would write it as a 2. And then we're going to do this line right here out of 3. And we haven't taught that. I've never taught that to first graders, so they're just going to need a little bit more support with that. And then number 8 says divide into fourths and then shade 2 fourths. So I'm going to break this rectangle into 4 pieces, and mine aren't really even. I kind of did mine kind of sloppy. Hopefully you can get yours a little bit neater. But I have 4 rectangles there, and it says shade 2 of the 4. So I took 2 of them and I shaded it, and that is a fraction 2 fourths, or half of them. Don't forget that you can also write your numbers on the back side. And that would complete day 1. All right, so now I'm going to go back to day 2 and explain that in a little bit more detail. So day 2, read field trip funds again, pages 10 and 11. So your child already read it yesterday, and today they're going to write a key detail from the text, and they're going to use the sentence frame, a key detail is blank. So it should look something like this. And if you want to freeze the the video, you're more than welcome to do it so your child can write in that frame correctly. Your child also needs for their writing to continue their writing, sequencing their ideas on a flow map. And today they're going to work just on their topic, their first and their next sentence. And so I've already completed mine. If your child hasn't completed their circle map, make sure they're done with this before they're ready for their flow map. So you're only supposed to complete your topic, your first and your next sentence. Your child may already be ready to go and finish the entire thing today, and that's okay, as long as you are okay with that too. So let me just read our topic sentence. It says, let me tell you about a time I went on a blank. And that's our main topic. That's what we're talking about. So that's where we would pull this word here, field trip. Let me tell you about a time I went on a field trip. Then they're going to write their first sequence idea that they are pulling from their circle map. So first, whatever their idea was here, if they use keywords or complete sentence, that's what they're transferring on here, but it needs to be in a complete sentence. Also, remind your student to check the beginning of their sentence. Are they using capitals? Are they missing words? If they are, then they need to go back and fix that. And then do they have a punctuation mark or a period at the end of these sentences because they are telling sentences? They'll do the same thing for the next sentence. Remember to reference back to the circle map. Same thing, check the beginning, check for missing words, and check for end punctuation marks. I know that day 3, you'll just continue with that pattern for then and finally, and then that's a time I went on a blank. And remember, that's also our closing and our topic sentence always reference back to our main idea, which would be field trip. Okay, so that would be your writing for the whole thing would be for day 2 and day 3. As long as you get it done by the time of April 14th, you should be good. You're also going to complete a math facts page and then work on Go Math pages 99 and 100. So let me go over that with you guys real quick. 99 looks like this. Same thing, they're just changing the order of the addends. Down here, they need to be able to explain that if Adam knows 4 plus 7 equals 11, write or what other addition fact should he know? They're going to write that in the box and then tell how Adam knows the new fact. On the back side, they're going to write 2 addition sentences that you can use to solve the problem, write the answer. So Roy sees 4 big fish and 9 small fish. How many fish does Roy see? 4 plus 9 equals blank. And if I change the order of the add-ins, 9 plus 4 equals blank. They can draw a model up here to help them solve it, but once they make a model and solve the first one, they shouldn't be doing it for the second one, because if you know one, then you should also know the other. Similar to number 18, number 19, I just wanted to point out the word same. This could be a little tricky, so your student might need a little bit of support. Anna has 2 groups of pennies. She has 10 pennies in all, so think that there's only 10 altogether. When she changes the order of the add-ins, or the parts, the addition sentence is the same. So no matter which number's in the front or the back, they're both the same. And so you got to think about which one that could be. There's only one answer. And be careful. They wrote the equal sign towards the front. So this is where your whole number is going to go, equals your part plus your part. So be careful on that one. And then number 20, write the add-ins in a different order. If I know 3 plus 4 equals 7, then what other addition fact do I automatically know equals 7 if I'm changing the orders of the part? Changing the orders of the add-in, sorry. You're also going to do 20 minutes of PE for today. And then for my class, if you're not in my class, you can pause this video. This doesn't apply to you, but my class, you're going to work on morning work, page 120. I'm sorry, it's not 128. It's just the next page in the packet. I won't do number 1. That one's always simple. Read the story, answer the question. Number 2, they're going to draw, and they have to read the word to be able to know what they're going to draw. Number 3, I want the word toy, so look at that. I want the word toy. Number 4, if I look at that pot there, I can see that it's boiling. I just want the word boil. On this one, say the word, finger stretch it. B-oy-ol. And so just to help you guys out here, the O and the I, since I haven't taught it to you, says oi. Oi. Number 5, you're going to find the high frequency word that goes in the blank spot. Number 6 says, that is their new car by the street. There's 5 mistakes on this sentence. Your student may need a little bit more support with this. That is how we spell the word there, but that's not the correct there that I want. Number 7, same thing as yesterday. It says, write the fraction for the shaded part. How many parts are shaded? And then you're going to draw a line, and then how many parts are there all together. Let's see if they can do that independently, because we introduced that to them on the day before. If they still need some support on this, that's quite all right. Number 8, divide into thirds. So I broke it into 3 sections, 1, 2, 3, and then I shaded 2 of the parts. Shade 2 thirds, so it should look something like this. Don't forget to write your numbers to 120, and then that would complete day 2. Day 3. This day you're going to read A New Kind of Egg, A New Kind of Eggs, page 12 and 13, and that's in your My Shared Reading, New Kind of Eggs. So read these 2 pages here, and then on this day what you're going to do, you're going to circle the words with the double O sound as in pool. Oh, oh. So I'm going to give you a clue. It's in the very last sentence on the second page, page 13. I think plant eggs are a cool invention. In the 7th sentence, underline the word that is another way of saying plant eggs. Your student might need a little bit more support in that. So in the 7th sentence, where did I see it at earlier? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the 7th sentence, underline the word that is another way of saying plant eggs. I was going to say that it's probably in this first sentence or this last sentence over here. They were an egg substitute made of plants. So, as long as you can get something that means another way to say plant eggs, I'm okay with that. And I'm sure your child's teacher is okay with that too. For the last thing is just put a star next to an important detail from the text. Remember, an important detail always supports the main idea. The main idea is a new kind of egg. So whatever idea that you found that supports the main topic, that is more than acceptable. Then for your writing, you're going to continue to finish the flow map if you haven't done so already. And if your child did it on day 2, you're good for your writing for today. You're going to do a math facts page, and then you're going to work on pages 101 and 102 for your math. So 101. This is just simply counting on. So remember that the directions are always down here at the bottom. It says read the problem and use the top workspace to solve. Sam has 9 books in a box, so they have 9, and then he gets 1 more. How many books does he have? So your child should look at this, start at the number 9, and say 9, 10. 9 plus 1 equals 10. They'll do the same thing where they're counting on 9, 10, and then they continue to count on, write their answer. Same thing for over here. Then they move on to page 101. Says you can count on to add 1, 2, or 3. Start with the greater add-in. So in this section right here, they need to start with, they look at their problem, 3 plus 5. The greater or bigger number is going to be 5, so they need to circle that and know that when they count on, that's the number they're starting with, 5. And they're going to add 3 more to it, so they drew 3 more books in the example. So 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's 3 plus 5 equals 8. That was the last number that they landed on. So for the remainder of today's lesson, all your child is going to do is circle the greater add-in, and then they have to draw the books just like it's showing here in this example, which might be kind of faded, but this is the example that's showing how your students' continuous problem should also look, and then they're going to solve the problem. So that's your math for today. And then if you are not in my class, you can pause the video because this doesn't apply to you. Our morning work looks a little bit different. So let me just make sure I'm on the right page. Yes. Same thing here. A lot of these concepts are new for your child. They haven't been introduced just yet. Read the story, answer the question. Number 2, it says circle the root or the base word. If I have the word looking, the root or the base word would be look. Your child might need a little bit more support with that, so help them out as much as they need to. Number 3, I'm looking for the word yard. Yard. Number 4, I want the word fork to be spelled. So your child will say the word, finger stretch it, fork, and then write it. Remind them that an O and an R says or. And then for the k sound, it's not the letter C. You can give them clues like that. That's okay if it's not a word they're typically used to being asked to spell. Number 5, find the high frequency word that goes in the blank spot. Number 6, I thinks that coin is mine. There's 5 mistakes in the sentence, and as you can see, I've underlined the words that do not sound correct or are not spelled correctly. They might need a reference back to the word coin. I believe, no, they haven't spelled that one, but it's the same phonics pattern from the day before, so they can look back to see what words say oi, what letters. Number 7, it says think about using 10 to add to a 2-digit number. So if I have 62 plus 20 equals blank, they already made the model 20 for me, but they were missing the number 62. And so I think for this section, it would be best to have your child make a number for the number 62 or make a model. 62 has 6 tens, so I drew 6 tens, 6, and then it also has 2 ones, so I drew 2 ones cubes, or just dots in this case. When your child is adding 62 plus 20, we always tell them to take all the 10 sticks and count those first and then go back and add the ones. So as they're counting, you should hear them do something similar to this. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 81, 82, and then they would write their answer 82. Number 8, they're going to fill in the missing numbers counting by 10. So this looks very similar to our 120 chart that your students are writing their numbers to 120 on. So if they need a little bit of help and they're not quite sure, they can always reference that to see what numbers would come next. So if they find 2, they jump down. I always tell my students in my class, if we do 10 more, we hit the floor, which means we're going down on our 120 grid. And so they can use that to help them find out what numbers are missing. All right, so that's the end of day 3. So now let's start on day 4. We're almost done. For this day, they're going to also read A New Kind of Egg on page 12 and 13, and they're going to write a key detail from the text, and don't forget to have them use the sentence frame. A key detail from the text is, which will look something like this. You can go ahead and have them pause it. And you know, I forgot to tell you guys, if you want to have them draw a picture of their key detail, you can also have them do that. If writing is just a little bit too much, they can also just write it. If drawing and writing is too much, they can just write it. They don't have to do both. And then the same thing for the other stories too, if you had time, that is. But if you're just writing, that's okay with me too. Then they're also going to begin working on, they're taking their ideas from their flow map for their writing, and they're going to find their brown paper inside of their work packet. And they're just going to transfer their ideas in the same order they wrote them on here. So when they're done, they're going to have a paragraph form sentence with 5 sentences in it that mimic exactly what they had already wrote on here, because these were their brainstorming and their organizational maps that helped them to get their ideas onto paper, and now they're ready to transfer it into paragraph form on the brown paper. Just make sure that you're keeping all of your papers in your packet in the stapled order, so that way when these are turned in, we can give your child credit for those activities. Okay. Your child for day 4 was also supposed to do a math facts page, and then go math pages 103 and 104. So let me find mine. 103, it says circle the greater add-in or the bigger number and then count on to find the sum. So these should be fairly simple. So if I have 1 plus 9, I know that 9 is the greater add-in. I would circle 9 and then put 9 in my head, count on just one more, 9, 10, write the answer. Same thing for all the other problems that are in this. Number 31, they're going to explain. Terry added 3 plus 7. He got a sum of 9, which is the answer. His answer is not correct. We're telling you it's not correct. Describe how Terry can find the correct sum. So if you were solving this, what would you do first? I would always reference them. What did you do first up here? That's probably going to be a clue about what you should tell Terry to do when he's solving this problem. On the next page, which is page 104, I believe I don't want to tell you the wrong page, 104. Cindy and Joe pick 8 oranges, then they pick 3 more oranges. How many oranges do they pick? They're simply writing the addition sentence and solving it. If they need to make a model, they have more than enough space to draw a picture up here. Number 33, which 3 numbers can you use to complete the problem? So as you can see, there's some numbers over here. We have the numbers 10, 3, 7, and 9. What numbers could I pick that are going to equal one of the other numbers that are listed here? So your child might need to try some different combinations to find the right order to get the answer. They're only using these numbers here for here, here, and here. So be careful, only using these numbers. Number 34, they're going to count on from 3, and they're going to write the number that shows 2 more in the box. So put 3 in your head, count on 2 more. 3. You're going to write the answer in the box. All right, and then for my class, if you're not in my class, you can pause the video because this doesn't apply to you once again. Our morning work is going to be just the next one in the sequence. So that's 1, 2, 3, which is going to be page 160. Like I said, read the story, answer the question for number 1. Number 2, read this section here, and then you're going to finish the story. I know the space is really tiny, but just do the best that you can. Even if you need to shorten your sentence just so it fits, that's okay. Number 3, you're going to say the sounds in this word, and I haven't taught you that A-U says ah. So ah-o. Haul. The word is haul, and haul means to carry things. So if you're going to haul things to the dump, you're going to take it probably in your truck and you're going to take it to the dump. So I might draw a picture of that. If you can think of another picture that shows the word haul, you can do that. Number 4, you're going to label the picture. This is a picture of a paw. You're going to finger stretch it, paw. And I wanted to tell you that AW says ah, since I haven't taught you that. Number 5, find the high frequency word that goes in the blank spot. Number 6, read the sentence. We already frosted all of the cupcakes. There's 4 mistakes here. The word of and cupcakes is not spelled correctly. I hope you can find the other 2 mistakes. Number 7, it says subtract 90 minus 50 equals blank. When I have numbers that are multiples of 10, we can draw 10 6. And so as you can see here, I went ahead and I drew 90 or 9 10s and 0 1s. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. And I'm going to take away 50 of them, which is 5 10s and 0 1s. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10s that I circled and crossed out because I'm taking away. And now I'm going to count my model to find out how many are left. And because these are 10 6, we're counting by 10s. So sometimes children, what they want to do is count by ones. They'll say, oh, 90 minus 50 equals 4 because I see 4 10 6. They need to count by 10s. For the last problem right here, they're going to do the same thing for 50 minus 30. Hopefully they're using the previous example as a guide for how they're going to complete this one. And don't forget to write your numbers to 120. And that's the end of day 4. So now we're ready for day 5. This should be your last day out of all these packets until you get your new one. They're going to reread field trip funds and a new kind of egg. And they're going to underline or highlight details that are similar. So whatever they find from both stories that's the same, they're going to underline it. They're going to continue for their writing to finish their brown paper if they haven't finished it already. And they need to make sure that it's complete, it's accurate, no capitals, no punctuation is missing, everything is correct, no missing words. Going back and proofreading your writing is critical in first grade. They have a tendency to kind of get excited and finish, and they have lots of mistakes. Don't forget to do a math facts page and then go math pages 105 through 107. So they're going to finish the rest of it. Let me find the correct pages as a reference. 105. This one is adding doubles, so don't forget to read the apple section at the bottom. Sal built 2 towers, so I know I have 2 towers. Each tower has 4 cubes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it says, how many cubes does Sal use to build both towers? Your student needs to reference their model or their picture here to be able to write their number sentence. So blank plus blank equals blank. They're using this picture to help them fill in the blank spots on that. Okay, for this one, they're going to do the same thing where they're drawing their model of cubes. They can just draw a square. It doesn't have to be anything like what they already see on here. We always talk about drawing a quick picture, and a square is perfectly acceptable. So if it says 1 plus 1, they're drawing 1 cube plus 1 more, and they're seeing that there's a total of 2. That's their answer. So don't forget, they need to model and then write their answer. Make sure that they're writing their answer underneath the line when it's written vertically like that too. 1, 2, 3, 4, same thing. Same thing for here. Number 7, it says look for a pattern. Look back at exercises 1 through 6 and write a fact that would come next in the pattern. So if I see 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 4 plus 4, 5 plus 5, 6 plus 6, 7 plus 7, 8 plus 8. Your child should have a pretty good idea of what would come next, and they also need to solve it. Same thing down here on the bottom. They don't need to draw models anymore. There's not enough space, but they can simply solve it to see if they're building some fluency with those math facts. On the back side, write a double stack to solve. Read this problem. Solve it by writing the addition sentence and the answer. Number 15, there are 18 people at the party. Some are boys, some are girls. The number of boys is the same as the number of girls. So they need to really think about this one and think about what numbers they can add to get to 18. And be careful. The equal sign is on the opposite side of the equation. So be careful as you're reading this. As they go back, they need to go back and make sure that it makes sense. Number 16, it says the cubes show a double stacked. Choose the double stacked and the sum. So I see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes here, which is what they wrote. And then I need to look at the other one right underneath it and determine, is it 3 cubes or 4 cubes? Circle the correct answer, and then it equals, and then circle 7 or 8, whatever the total number of cubes is. And that's the end of the math. If you're not in my class, then the morning work doesn't apply to you, so you can go ahead and pause that video. Remember to keep all of your pages together and turn them into your teacher. Look on Parent Square for the collection date and times that we'll be collecting these packets. For my class, though, you're not quite done just yet. You have the morning work as an optional activity, so let me explain that. You're going to read the question and locate your text evidence in the story there. Number 2, you're going to read the story and then expand the sentence with the space that's provided. Remember, there's not a lot of space, so you might need to shorten your sentence just a little bit. Number 3, I kind of broke it into 2 different pieces. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to sound it out and to be able to draw a picture that matches that word. So I'm going to say the sounds with you. A W and an R makes the sound R. R. And then O-N-G, it says ong. R, ong. What's the word? Wrong. So you can draw any picture. It could be maybe I got a math fact wrong and I crossed it out and I'm going to rewrite it correctly so I can show that it was wrong before but I got it right. Or whatever you want to draw that shows something was wrong. Number 4, this girl is wrapping a present. I just want the word wrap. So you're going to finger stretch it. R-A-P. Don't forget that a W and an R says R. They already started it for you. You have to finish it. Number 5, find the 5 frequency word. Number 6, have you ever been on an airplane? Ooh, I'm asking you a question, so I want you to think about how the end of that sentence should look. There's 4 mistakes altogether, so when you're done and you've written it correctly and neatly, you should have all 4 of those mistakes fixed. Number 7 and number 8 are really tricky. I almost thought about saying you don't have to do it, but I know some of you are going to say, Mrs. Rodriguez, I want to do it. So I went ahead and put it on here. So it says, draw the 10s and the 1s, regroup to answer. So the problem says 91 minus 6 equals blank. And let's pretend that I didn't write my answer there. I'm going to help you guys out just a little bit. So when I look at the number 6, I know I have 6 1s. and I have 1 in the number 91, so I don't have quite enough ones to take away. So what I'm going to have to do, I have 9 tens though, and you know that I can take one of those tens and break it into 10 ones. See how I said this might be a little tricky? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 10 ones instead of one of these tens. So instead of 9 of them, I'm going to do 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to make that other 10 stick that should have been 9 10 sticks, I'm going to make it into 10 ones, which is what I did here. And I have 9 tens now, but I need one extra one, which is right down here. Now that I have my problem already modeled, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away 6 of the ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I circled them and then I crossed them out to show that I'm taking away. And now I can look at my model, my very neat model, and I can figure out what 91 minus 6 is. I see that I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. 85, I have 8 tens, which are 8 10 6 here, and I have 5 ones left. So I know 8 tens and 5 ones is the number 85. You're going to do something very similar when you do the next one, so I hope you were listening and watching. If not, you might need to go back and pause and rewind the video just a little bit to find how I did that one more time if you need to listen to it. You're going to do the similar thing on number 8. It says 55 minus 7 equals blank. I have 5 ones in number 55, but I need to take away 7 ones. So if I don't have enough, I wonder where I can get some extra ones from. So when you draw your model, that should be able to help you solve this problem here. Don't forget to write your numbers to 120. And then that, my friends, is the end of day 5. And I think I need to go take a really big drink of water. That was a lot of talking. So, parents, don't forget the entire packet needs to be completed the week of April 14th. Be on the lookout for information on Parent Square as far as the collection time. So you'll be turning in all 3 of the packets. Remember, they are the pink, the green, the yellow, and the orange. All 3 of these need to have your child's name on them. They need to be stapled how we had given them to you. And then make sure that we can give you credit for them and that they're completed in their entirety. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have an amazing spring break and an amazing Easter. And I can't wait to hear about all the fun that you have. I'll talk to you later. Bye.